I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It's September 23rd, 2020. And I will note for the record that Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Giffens are both in attendance as well. And we'll begin with our public statement. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear. And we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCC-SC. And with that, we will move on to departmental updates. And we'll begin with Ms. Penny Caudill from the Health Department. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again today, and happy fall as we come into this new season. So hopefully new good things will follow. I just have a few things today. Certainly just looking at the dashboard and the county numbers, our positivity rate as of 9/22 was 5.3%. So that is coming down, and we can see that that is clearly evidence of the university's numbers, all the negatives and positive tests being added to the state dashboard. I'm sure that there are some still yet to be added, but that is evidence that that's being resolved. Last week, our per capita positivity number was 277. This week, we did see a decrease to 260. Now, that's higher than we would like to see it, obviously, but it's a downward trend, and we're looking towards those things. The metrics map that is on the dashboard is updated once a week. It's updated on Wednesdays, and they close out and look at the data as of, I think it's on Sunday. So as of 9/20, our positivity rate was 5.79. But again, we had 260 is a higher number of per capita cases than we would like to see. So it kind of will keep us in that orange phase for another week. And hopefully we'll continue to see that per capita number come down. Right now, that's what's keeping us in that orange zone. So I just wanted to note that will be out later today, and wanted to kind of give some context around that. Another change that's coming to the dashboard is a school map will be added, and so that people can look at each of the school systems are uploading information about cases in the schools and those kinds of things, so people will be able to monitor that. And certainly anything, a standard in public health is if there's less than 5, then those numbers will be suppressed for confidentiality. But you will be able to look at that by county and by schools. We do continue to work with both our local schools, K through 12, and private and public, and with the universities in every way that we can. CDC has put out some updated guidance. They've updated a few things for schools, but they've also put out some guidance about upcoming holidays and gatherings that we might have. So we will be reviewing that. I know we're getting lots of questions right now about Halloween. We will be reviewing all of those things and looking to see if there's anything additional or any kind of enhancements to that as a county we might want to recommend. But the guidance is out there now, so if people are wondering what best practices might be, they could go ahead and look at that. And finally, the Fairbanks study is going into its 3rd phase, and testing will be September 29th through October 3rd. I don't think that there is a testing site in Monroe County this time. We've had one in phase 1 and phase 2, but I don't believe that we have one in phase 3. But that is always interesting and good to see the data come out of that. And we encourage people, if they got their postcard, they were sent out on 9/11. So if you got a postcard inviting you to that, we would encourage you to participate in that study.
Okay, thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Giffens?
No.
Commissioner Jones?
Nope.
Okay, and so is there I know there are a lot of places that are giving out flu shots. Do you have any information on that?
I don't have any specific information. I know that certainly the public health clinic on Miller Drive can do vaccines. You call and make an appointment. Our nurses have over 44 clinics scheduled, most of those within schools, but also some public things. I know the hospital is working on extra vaccine in the community as well. And we would encourage everyone to start now and make arrangements to get that flu shot so that we can at least reduce the chance that flu is circulating, and it's one less thing that might I'm looking for the right word, that just might impact the hospital with people who are battling influenza and COVID-19.
Great. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thanks for your help today and always. And I know you are busy and you've done so much work in your staff. And so we thank you and the health board, Dr. Sharp, everybody for all of your hard work throughout this pandemic. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Great. Thanks. I will share that with staff.
Thank you. Next, we have Allison Moore, Emergency Management.
Good morning. I'd like to start by talking about the blood drives this morning. I was a little fearful this time that we weren't going to get full schedule, but we are more than a week away and every spot is filled. So thanks to Monroe County for filling those spots and stepping up. So since you might have possibly missed this one, we have 3 more scheduled for the rest of the year. And so the next blood drive we're working on scheduling is October 14th. It will be at the Monroe County Convention Center. So they're wonderful to work with. You go to the redcross.org website, put in your zip code, and it will bring up that next available blood drive. They're starting to fill those Octobers. So please take advantage of that if you can. We have been working with our health department. I know Penny mentioned those flu clinics, and so our office is assisting the health department just because their plates have been so full in helping try to get those blood drives scheduled. We'll also be volunteering to try to help be paperwork runners and various things at some of those clinics this year. So we're willing to help and happy that we can collaborate the 2 departments to try to get those school blood drives and help where we can within our department. And then we also, of course, still have masks available at all of our fire departments and many of our trustees' offices. Those lists of places are on our county website. Feel free to go to co.monroe.in.us and get that list. We also have Monroe County Alert where you can sign up on that same website. I'll give it one more time, co.monroe.in.us. We send out weather alert notices, health orders, and various information. Just earlier this week, we had a pretty massive structure fire that multiplied to various homes, and we sent out information to avoid that area. And those are things that we send on that post. And so if that's something you're not receiving, you can go to that website and get signed up for those Monroe alerts. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you so much. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Giffens?
No, thank you, Allison.
Thanks for organizing the blood drives. We appreciate that and all your hard work throughout this whole pandemic, of course.
As well.
Yeah, thank you. And next we have Ms. Lisa Ridge, who will give us a traffic road construction update.
Good morning. We are working as usual, it's surprisingly September 23rd already. So we lost a couple months of paving in there. So we are trying to make up some ground on that. We were approved a $200,000 additional from our cash balance to help succeed in getting those paving projects that we want to get completed this year. We will be moving to, I know, Duncan Road to finish or to complete a paving project for that whole road. And then we'll be moving back up north to finish Red Hill Dutch Church, where we had completed a bridge project, and then Walker Lane. So what we like to do is go to those areas, do the drainage work in advance of paving, basically change any pipes that need and replaced, or additional pipes to improve the drainage, and then also to conduct ditching work along the roadway. Then we come in and pave it. So that's kind of how we've been setting it up. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. Questions, comments, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Githens?
No, thanks for trying to catch up on the paving. I know that's been a real headache.
Yeah, we lost, a couple months in there trying to do the social distancing and everything. So the crews are working hard to try and get done and spend every dollar that we had anticipated on paving. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You.
We will see you later in the agenda.
Okay.
Thanks. And next we have an opportunity for the public to offer comment on anything that is not on our agenda. 3 minutes per person is the limit, and you will hear a tone when there is 30 seconds remaining. And that is the tone that you will hear. So is anyone here to offer comment on an item that is not on our agenda? Just go to participants at the bottom of your Zoom screen and click raise hand, the little blue hand.
There are no hands raised.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Dayton. And with that, we will move on to our next agenda item. Commissioner Jones, if you would, please.
Move approval of the minutes for September 16th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any comments, corrections, or edits?
I sent Ms. Freeman 2 small things already, so
Great.
sure that's taken care of.
Great. Thank you so much. And with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on approval of the minutes, September 16th, 2020?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Minutes are approved 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable, September 23rd, 2020, and payroll, September 25th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Miller. Good morning.
Commissioners. The total for AP claims was $1,610,224.94. The most notable claim was for Convention and Visitors Bureau, and that was $345,000, which was for 2020 fourth quarter operational funds. Next was Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield in the amount of $271,496.96, which was for September claims and fees. And finally, City of Bloomington in the amount of $188,603.17, which was for September PSAP lit for Central Dispatch. As far as the payroll is concerned, the total was $1,532,986.63, $1,080,874.79 was for the main and supplemental payroll direct costs, and the remaining $452,111.84 were for the payroll-related AP claim items.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Miller. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Githens?
Thanks for explaining the big payouts for the quarterlies. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Is there any public comment on this item? Again, go to the participants list and click on raise hand if you do.
There are no raised hands.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dayton. And with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on accounts payable September 23rd, 2020 and payroll September 25th, 2020?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great, thank you so much. I will note that we have received a report from the treasurer for August of 2020. And with that, we'll move on to new business.
Move to approve the 2020 general election polling site locations and early voting hours.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Martin, good morning.
Good morning. I did send you the list of the 28 polls we will be utilizing for the election. We did drop down a few polls due to size. Hopefully that you've looked at them and it's still very convenient for the community to vote. I also want to say that there's 22 days of early voting and we're still in the same location, 401 West 7th Street. I've also included with that the hours of operation. You should have a list of those too. Basically, it's from 8 to 6, Monday through Friday, and we have 2 Saturdays included. That's it for us.
Okay, and early voting begins October 6th. That we have
That
a
is
little
correct. The last day to register is
presentation.
October 5th,
Mhm.
and the last day to request a ballot by mail is October 22nd. So far, we've sent out about 9,000 ballots by mail, and we are getting those back.
Right, thank you so much. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
I'd just like to remember everyone to please send in your mail-in ballots early. Don't count on the mail to get them there right at the very last minute. And apply for one right away if you think you need one.
Good point. And they can also be dropped off, correct?
Yes, we have a station out front. Well, only during operating hours.
Mhm.
While we're open, you can't drop off your ballot because our drop box has been closed over. We do have someone posted at the door to receive any ballots that you walk up with. And do not drop them off at the clerk's office in their drop box. That is, we're not supposed to do this, that the law is against it. So it has to be a person dropping off the ballot to another person.
Right. So not at the Charlotte Zitlow Justice Building, but actually
No.
at Election Central.
During operating hours, and that is from 8 to basically 6 in the afternoon,
Right, Monday through Friday only.
Monday through Friday.
Great, thank you. Good. Commissioner Githens, do you have any comments or questions?
It is the drop off in person only once early voting starts, or is that available right now?
You can do it right now, 8 to 4 right now. We do have a person posted looking for someone to have a ballot in their hand.
Thank you.
Okay, that's excellent. Very good. And so is there anything notable, Ms. Martin, about the new, any of the polling places and how are people going to know where to find their polling place?
Well, actually, we've got postcards going out to every registered households in Indiana, in Monroe County, Indiana, and that will have your polling location on it. The paper will be very informative. You can go to our website, Monroe County Voters. You can go to indianavoters.com, and they will tell you. The newspaper, we've got some commercials scheduled to run. Pretty much, we've got it covered, we think.
You
Best
have.
laid plans of mice and men.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And I know that a lot of work went into selecting these polling places, so I appreciate everyone's hard work on that.
It
with the
did.
election
A lot
board, making sure they're accessible and quality spaces where people can social distance sufficiently.
That is true. That was our main concern. It was the keeping people apart from each other. We're creatures of nature. We want to be beside each other, but we cannot during this time.
Right, very good. Thank you. And don't forget to bring your ID, whether you're voting in person early or at a polling place, and please wear a mask.
State issued ID.
State issued
passport-
ID, thank
A
you.
passport will also suffice. That's
Very
not
good.
expired.
Right, excellent. Let's see if there are any public comments or questions on this item. Again, go to participants and click on the raise hand button.
There are no hands raised.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dayton. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the 2020 general election polling site locations and early voting hours?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Martin. And we will move on to the next item, please.
Move to approve Resolution 2020-41, Parks and Recreation Surplus Property.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Let's see if Ms. Whitmer is on. I don't see her. Mr. Cockrell.
Yeah, I can handle this. The Parks has a few things that they no longer are able to use. A John Deere MX-8 brush cutter, a Kawasaki mule, and then they also have some Frisbee disc golf baskets. And they're getting new baskets due to a donation. And the donation, one of the requirements of that donation was that these old disc golf baskets go to the Wheeler missions. So that's in the resolution as well. The other two will be sold at auction, or if it's deemed that they're not worth enough, they cost more to move and put up for sale than the sale would proceed, then they would go ahead and dispose of them in another manner. So.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Githens?
No, I was at the Parks Board meeting last week and heard about these. I think it's really nice that we're going to be able to share the disc golf baskets with Wheeler Missions. They run a camp for people in recovery, and so give people something to do that's outside and exercise, and yeah.
Very good. Let's see if there is any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. And Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on Resolution 2020-41?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Resolution is approved, 3-0.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Cockrell. Next item, please.
Move to approve the Gordon LLC Diversity Training Program, Fund Name General, Fund Number 1000, in an amount not to exceed $325,000.
Second?
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Sensenstein of Human Resources. There you are. Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, so we met a few meetings ago and we presented this program to you, and now we are back with a contract. Nichelle Whitney is here if you have any questions for her or for me about the contract.
Great. Thank you so much. Let's see if Mr. Cockrell has anything that he wants to add on this as well.
Yes, and I had sent out a revised version of this. There were two clarifying points that I think we needed to make. One is that there are 5 independent training sessions associated with this. So when we talk about the billing for the training sessions, they're for each of those 5 categories that are listed in the report. In addition, that not all 225 employees are going to go through the training at the same time. They're going to be divided into cohorts of up to 50 people. I would just note that this is contingent upon county council appropriation. So I think we need to make sure that's clear in both the motion and the record.
All right, excellent. And the employees that we have listed right now are the civil employees, correct?
When we went through and reviewed total number of employees, we found that we had currently 247 employees that are in the civil component of the entity of Monroe County, and that's who we are including in this. We used a 225 number because that is not a static number, that is in constant fluctuation due to turnover and things of that nature. So we wanted to get a minimum there and have the ability to expand it. I think you'll see language in here of up to 300, so that if when we go through the training we have 250, we have 250. The price for 225 is $270,000. And so that was the basic minimum price for this agreement.
Thank you so much. Let's see if Ms. Whitney has anything to add before we go to comments or questions.
Good morning. I think Elizabeth and Jeff covered it very well, so I don't have any thoughts. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I'm quite excited about this project. I think it'll probably teach some really valuable skills that everyone will be able to use. I'm also really glad that it's being done by a local group. I think that will put it more in the context of our community. And it's always important to treat people with respect, but that could mean different things to people with different life experiences. I'm hoping to acquire a better understanding of how various people perceive respect and be able to put it to good use. Thank you for making this available.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Very kind words. I'm excited to work with you.
Commissioner Givens.
As my fellow commissioners know, I'm going to vote against this contract, and I want to take some time to explain my vote. I believe Black Lives Matter. I believe racism exists in America, and I would sincerely like to see an end to it. I want all Americans to be able to live without the fear of being mistreated because of the color of their skin, their racial background, their religion, their gender identity, their sexual orientation, their age, economic status, educational status, or disability. And if I were to remake the world, America would celebrate all forms of diversity, and everyone would enjoy full inclusion in our society. The proposed contract seeks to provide diversity training for less than half the county's employees. No needs assessment of the county's employees has been conducted, so it is difficult to know if diversity training is even needed, if de-escalation training is needed, and so on. The assessments being proposed under this contract, at least as they were explained to me earlier, do not measure the presence of racism, sexism, ageism, or other forms of workplace bias. The primary contractor has proposed using the implicit association test, known as the IAT, to measure such things. But the various forms of this test have not been shown to be either reliable or valid. The validity is especially concerning to me as the assessments have not been shown to predict a person's actual behavior. Ms. Whitney has also proposed using the Intercultural Development Inventory, or IDI, which is designed to measure cross-cultural competence, which seems a little beyond what we're seeking here. I have a master's degree in educational psychology, and for over 20 years, I have done volunteer work as an educational advocate for special needs students. From my experience, I can tell you that if one is looking to change a person's behavior, then one has to do observations on that individual to establish a baseline, and then repeat those observations post-training to verify whether or not the behavior has changed. No observational assessments have been built into this training. I'm not against this type of training. In fact, last month I participated in the Crossroads Anti-Racist training and organizing. But I am disappointed in how little exploration was done on finding an experienced group to do the diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI training. After seeing today's proposal, I contacted a retired human resources professional and asked for a recommendation for someone to do DEI training. And he provided me with the name and contact information for a group in Ohio, an experienced group that has done training for the Centers for Disease Control, the NCAA, Procter & Gamble, the NBA, and a host of other organizations. The Ohio group has also offered to allow a small number of county personnel to go through their training so that we can pilot it. I initially asked if our HR director could pilot Ms. Whitney's program and was told no. I'm not being negative about Ms. Whitney. She's hardworking and has already brought innovative programs into our community, like the maternal and child health grants that we will be discussing later this morning. But in the time of COVID, when many of our local residents are relying on food pantries and families are facing eviction and or utility shutoffs, I cannot justify spending more than $300,000 of taxpayer money on this training. If we want to see a non-racist, inclusive society, we need to change what's in people's hearts. There are no assurances that approving this contract aimed at such a small group of people will help us bring about even a fraction of the change we want to see. Having said all this, I respectfully ask my fellow commissioners to postpone voting on this contract and to hold a public discussion on the best way for us to move forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to see if there's any, if Ms. Sensenstein or Ms. Whitney have anything they want to say in response.
Yes, this is Nichelle Whitney. I have some thoughts. Penny, I thank you for such a thorough response to the contract and the process, and I really appreciate your commitment to protecting the integrity of the taxpayers' dollars. I know that you and I have had a series of conversations, some via email, some in person. I do want to be very clear that I think you're sharing some partial truths on today's call in your statement, and that you're not accurately reflecting all of the things that we have discussed. Your mentioning of the implicit association test. You did not fully disclose what we discussed and why the IAT is used widely in trainings and how it impacts or what it really brings forward about people's self-awareness of behavior. And so I respect your lens. I think that in any group, there's always going to be a commissioner given to ask questions and hesitations about this type of training. I also would caution you in public meetings when suggesting that I'm not experienced or that our team is not experienced when we've sent you our CV and resume of the contractors that will be working on this project. So I just wanted to clarify that for anyone who's watching this or anyone who's on the call who has questions about it, I'm happy to go into deeper detail. One thing that I can say is that from the beginning, Elizabeth, Jeff, and Angie have shown a commitment to the success of this project. People have really been excited about this. When I first pitched this idea, actually, the three people that spoke before me for public comment were actually indicating that there are diversity needs in this county, and they related largely to gender diversity needs and accessibility needs. And I'm happy to go back and review that meeting with anyone who's interested. So to say whether or not we can't say whether or not that these issues are here in Monroe County, I think it speaks exactly to why we need these. When we talk about heart change, in the garden, we believe in three things. We believe in educating people. People deserve a chance to be educated. They deserve to learn more about this. Commissioner Givens, I asked you very specifically in our last meeting, what is your level of comfort with diversity education? And if I were to ask you to co-facilitate an implicit bias training with me, would you be able to do that? And your level of comfort, your self-perceived level of comfort at that time was not that you could effectively offer that type of training. So then to say on this call that I'm not experienced or couldn't do that, I think is in many ways malpractice to your community. So I just want to suggest that as we talk about this project and what we do in the garden, we believe in education, we believe in accountability, and we believe in grace. And I've seen a commitment from Monroe County staff that are on board with that. So thank you to everyone who has listened to this. proposal and this opportunity and who has worked on that this time. I really do hope that Monroe County staff will get an opportunity to go through this training. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whitney. And I will note, I will say for myself that, I don't think there's any perfect training because you cannot gauge how receptive somebody is to any training. It could be on a computer program or it could be on something as important as this. And I'm certainly not equating the two because I think this is very important. What I really like about this training is that there are 5 different modules, including de-escalation, identifying and confronting bias, imposter syndrome in the workplace, bystander intervention, and culturally sensitive communication. And I think for me, what is really helpful is that this is a behavior-based and action-oriented training that also talks about what's behind it and how that relates to our behaviors and our actions. But I think it will be very helpful for employees. Anything that we do countywide, we always, and this goes for example, our personnel policy. We always have to get sign-on from the Board of Judges and from the prosecutor because they are sort of separate entities within county government. And in this case, they are pursuing separate training, but they're, of course, at any time, if they find that there's, that they want to participate in this training, they're welcome to. And I know we would be happy to review any contract they wish to make with this group or with any group regarding that. So that's why the number is low compared to the number of employees, because we've now taken probation and sheriff's department and the court and prosecutor employees off of this because we cannot arrange a training for them, but they are already engaged in training, some of which we've participated in. So I just want to clarify that for the public, why this number is so low compared to the number of total employees that we have. Let's go back around and see if there are additional comments or questions. Commissioner Jones?
Well, basically, my opinion hasn't changed at all. And I want to emphasize that while racial training is incredibly important, that's not what this is only about. There are a number of other aspects of it that I think are really also very important. For example, discrimination against handicapped people, gender difficulties, things like that. I think this is a broad, overarching program that will generally help people to engage with each other in a more respectful, thoughtful manner.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Githens?
No.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and see if there's any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you so much. And with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Garden Diversity Training Program contract?
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
No.
Contract is approved 2-1.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Whitney. Thank you, Ms. Sensenstein, and thank you, Mr. Cockrell and Ms. Purdy as well for all your hard work on this contract. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to the next item, please.
Move to approve Justin Crossley videographer agreement, fund name Maternal and Child Health, fund number 8159, in the amount of $600.
Second.
Great.
Hi, Commissioners.
Good morning, Ms. McClellan.
I'm here on behalf of the Women's Commission. We got a grant from Indiana Healthy Workplaces, and with that grant, we are hosting a cooking class, and we're partnering with Banneker Community Center. And the goal of the cooking class is to teach healthy eating strategies for working mothers who have children. So that directly fits in with the goal of the grant is to increase maternal and child health. So we have. Because of COVID, we cannot have as many participants in the class live as we wanted to. We will be able to have 10 participants socially distanced, and then the videographer will allow us to live stream the class. And these funds will come directly out of this reimbursement grant.
Great. What a great idea. Thank you. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just what I read seemed to, well, I'm just curious about what the balance is between actual healthy eating education and cooking, because the two aren't necessarily always the same thing.
The chef knows that is one of the points of the class. I can't exactly say what I don't know enough about it to regurgitate like exactly how he is teaching the class. I did watch a video of his teaching, and it does look like very healthy eating. It looked like I guess the best thing to say is that I would be happy to give you more information after I actually see the class.
Yeah, I'm very interested in it.
And as our first time doing it, I mean, I'm sure there'll be lots of things that we can improve and do differently next time, and we're always open to that too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Comments or questions, Commissioner Giffens?
No, congratulations on getting this together.
Thanks.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. This is a fabulous idea, and we appreciate that you are our representative on the Women's Commission and all your hard work. Ms. Whitney is still on the call, and I don't know if she has anything she would like to add as well.
I do want to speak to Commissioner Jones's question about, so what's going to happen at this session? So there is a lot of nutritional education that will happen. When we received this grant from the state, the goal was to make sure that people felt that they had the tools, so the educational tools and then also physical tools they needed to be able to prepare more healthy meals for the workplace. And then COVID happened. And so now we're helping people rethink, well, what does healthy eating and meal prep look like at home? How do you do that with children? How do you do that for a family? And so what'll happen is he will be giving a lot of really good education about things you can grow in your garden. The Banneker Community Center is rehabbing their gardens. So even looking at how can you use local neighborhood gardens to pick the produce that you need. How do you partner with People's Market or even Farmers Market to get the type of produce that you need to prepare a healthy meal? And then he'll take you through the actual simulation. So you'll get your education about nutrition, you'll get your simulation for cooking, and then hopefully you enjoy your meal. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That's it sounds like it covers a whole lot that's really pretty important. And I'm pleased to hear the emphasis on local produce. It's amazing how many people don't really know that produce doesn't just grow in the grocery store. And I think having a closer experience with it is beneficial for everyone.
Will the video be available later that people can, will we have it archived any place, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
I need to ask Michelle to answer that question. I think we're having it archived.
You know what? I think we need to check in with Justin. Justin also is the videographer for the Monroe County Childhood Condition Summit. So he likes to make sure that we have material post-event. I don't foresee it being a problem, but that is a great question because where will it live if we do have it? So we can follow up with Justin.
Right. Yeah, and I was actually going to ask that same question because I was wondering if this is something we could just post on our website as well, even if it's a link to Facebook or something else. But if we could post the recording even on our health department's website or something like that, where people could find it, we could also send it out to Extension and other folks who do similar things, plus, of course, the Women's Commission. It's a great idea, and I'm so glad that you all went after this grant and you were so thoughtful about it. So we appreciate that. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. And with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Justin Crossley videographer agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Agreement is approved, 3-0.
All right, thank you so much. And the next item is related.
Move to approve Chef Gavin Everett Culinary Services Agreement, Fund Name, Maternal and Child Health, Fund Number 8159, in the amount of $600.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. McClellan?
This contract is for Gavin Everett, and he is a chef, a local chef, and he will teach the participants about nutrition and cooking.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
I think we pretty much covered them with the last item.
We did. Commissioner Githens?
Well, one thing, I don't know if this is possible, but I know that Chef Everett is completely bilingual. I wonder if he can, express things in English and then also in Spanish, because that would even expand the group that could participate here.
That is a great idea. We can put that on our, I would love to put that question to him and see if he'd be willing to do it again, and we could do a whole session in Spanish.
Ooh, fun.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Excellent. And I know that both of these, this item itself was approved by the council last night at their meeting. I just want to make that note for the public.
Yes. We had the funds appropriated last night, so it's all happening very quickly in the classes next week. So we're.
That was my last question. When is this?
Oh yeah, it's September 29th at Banneker Center at 6 p.m. and the registration will be open soon at the Banneker website.
Okay, so if anybody's interested, go to the Banneker website, and if they miss out, there's information there, I assume, about how to watch it live streamed. Okay, and then hopefully we're going to record it. I hope so.
Yes.
Great.
There's another very popular television event going on at the same time on TV on September 29th. I think it's on the 29th, our two presidential candidates.
Yeah, I believe that is the first debate. Yeah.
Yes. So we kind of got our first, I'm sure we were first choice in everybody's viewing for Tuesday night, but then that happened. So we'll definitely need the recording.
But I believe that's later in the evening, so you could actually do both.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Make dinner and then.
There you go. Become an informed voter. I like it.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you so much. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Great. Thank you again, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Chef Gavin Everett Culinary Services Agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Whitney. Thank you, Ms. McClellan. We appreciate your hard work on behalf of the Women's Commission.
Thank you so much, commissioners. Bye-bye.
And thanks to all of the members of the Women's Commission who worked on this grant. All right, we'll move on to the next item, please.
Move to approve PACCAR Financial Corporation lease and purchase.
This item F.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one.
That's okay.
Crossed it off too early. Move to approve vet environmental consultation and phase 1 review of the quarry properties. Fund name, general. Fund Number 1000 in an amount not to exceed $4,500.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, as you know, we did the phase 1 and phase 2 on the bulk of the area out there. The phase 2 results indicated that we should probably take a look at the other parcels, and this is the agreement to begin that process.
Okay, excellent. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
I'm just glad that we're continuing to move ahead with this. It'll be very interesting to see what the results of this study are.
Absolutely. Commissioner Giffens?
Yeah, I'm glad that we've expanded this to include all the parcels that we're considering.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate your hard work on this, Mr. Cockrell. Let's see if there are if there is any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Okay, with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the vet environmental consultation and phase 1 review of quarry project?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great, thank you so much. Now, next item.
I now move to approve PACCAR Financial Corporation Lease and Purchase Agreement, Fund Name Motor Vehicle Highway, Fund Number 1176, in the amount of $731,380.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Ridge.
Hello. So this would be a 3-year lease purchase agreement. It's actually for 5 dump trucks. They are to be delivered at the end of this week or at the latest Monday. The lease payment would be $253,845.05. The first payment also will include a $450 document fee. And again, this is a 3-year lease purchase agreement that we do have it budgeted for next year's payment.
Great, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Giffens?
Having seen some pictures of the older trucks, it's time to get something that works.
Yeah, I think Toby had sent you some pictures of some of the trucks where we do try and repaint beds on the trucks and utilize them the best we can. But there's some that they're costing us way more to run than they are worth at this point. I know the 3 of them that we would be replacing will go to our eGov deals once we make them surplus property eventually. And we seem to get enough back to try and help add any additional parts, things like that, to the new things to help assist with the cost in these trucks. So.
Mm-hmm. And these trucks have the snowplow, capable, snowplow attached. Yeah.
Yep. Everything is set up and that was the stipulation. Believe it or not, these trucks were ordered last December. So it is taking almost a year to get the vehicles or the dump trucks that you order because they're built from scratch. But we told them we needed them before this year's winter comes. So they are succeeding in getting those to us. So.
Yeah, it's very hard to imagine winter right now. It is.
It is. But it's right around the corner, unfortunately.
I know. And I will note as well that we made a presentation last night at the council meeting regarding the bond, the general obligation bond that we'll be bringing back to them and that we'll be considering as well, which will pay the last 2/3 of this, approximately, of this item out of the bond. So that would save motor vehicle highway additional monies for next year's paving.
And I cannot thank you guys enough. It helps a lot. So we really appreciate your support. we've worked hard to kind of analyze where we're at in the department over the last year and a half. I did see your presentation last night. I know we have put in a lot last year and this year into your bonds. I went out to the garage this morning to talk to the management out there and told them about your presentation and your support. And I feel like we have council support at this point. And this, you know, I kind of said, so what do you see for our future? Where are we at, you know, from a year and a half ago? And they were like, if we can get this through and get these final things, we are way so far ahead than we were a year and a half ago that we never thought that we could dig out of. And it's just basically, we didn't know, I don't think anybody knew where we could reach out to get funding, and we're not familiar with GO bonds and such. Myself, I was not until a couple of years ago. And I would encourage, I know we put out their pictures and list of things that the department needs, and I would encourage anybody that has a question on why we're asking for these items to please visit us. We'll give anybody a tour, show you what we're replacing, and show you the justification of why we put these lists together and why we needed the help. I'll say, I'm not embarrassed to say we needed the help. So I can't thank you all three enough for, and Angie working with us too, and Jeff Cockrell on helping us get the equipment and everything that we need to do better for the highway department. And that is our ultimate goal.
Right. And that ultimately serves every resident of Monroe County, no matter where you live, that every resident feels the impact of having the best equipment and updated equipment and replacing the 1986 tractor with the side mower. That was my favorite picture. So,
oh, I was like, really? That's what I told Toby this morning. Is that the picture you sent them? And he's like, that's what we're working with. And I was like, that's true. It kind of really shows you what we have out there. You know, and we're looking at different options of preventive maintenance. And I went on a little field trip yesterday and learning about slurry seal and microsurfacing. So, so there's different options out there that it's completely our goal, but we couldn't do this without trying to get our equipment in line and saving our funding more for community crossings matching program and bituminous and different options for preventive maintenance out there too. It'll take time, but we're getting there, and we wouldn't be able to do it without your help. So yeah. Thank you again.
It's easy to do. I would just say that if anybody on staff is compelled at the highway garage to take some video images or some additional pictures or anything like that, we can show them during our bond presentation, which will be coming
Absolutely.
up. So it might be nice to show the public as well what we're doing. So
yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Sorry, I got us off track. We kind of
no. I'm glad I had the opportunity.
Okay. So let's go ahead and see if there's any public comment. Again, just go to the participants tab at the bottom of the Zoom screen and click on the raise hand feature.
There are no hands raised.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Dayton. And with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the PACCAR Financial Corporation lease and purchase agreement?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Right. Thank you so much. And we'll move on to the next item, please.
Move to approve NDOT change order number 2 for the Cedar Ford Covered Bridge number 38. Fund name, Cumulative Bridge, fund number 1135, in the amount of $6,468.35.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Ridge.
Thank you. I know it seems like a little longer. This bridge opened up in June of 2019, but sometimes this is how long it takes to get a program closed out and get calculations and numbers to match with the contractor. So this is basically, they had some concerns with the type of backfill that was going to be used. versus a type 1 and a type 4. So we made those changes due to the flooding in the areas that would happen up against the abutments of the new bridge. There was also some different changes to the aggregate for the end bend backfill and the geotextile. So this is to cover those costs for the Cedar Ford Bridge.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Ridge. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Well, a part of this presentation in our packet was sideways, which, or at least it was for me, which made it a little difficult to read. And I was kind of confused because I had the impression that the engineering company was quite comfortable with the type 1, but I guess the contractor felt the type 4 was much better. Is that what happened?
Yeah, and I apologize. That was how the emails were sent. So I wanted to send you the whole history of that, and that's why some of those papers were sideways. That's kind of how this has taken a little bit, about a year and a half, because it's been a little bit of back and forth. And you can have the design firm design calculations and everything, but sometimes when you get out in the field and you're dealing with a contractor, and our contractor is very well versed in bridges. I mean, that is their specialty. They have a great reputation. So I think it was a little bit of back and forth, and then our construction inspector eventually agreed to the calculations and such of using the different, the other type of backfill. So it's sometimes a lot of these go back and forth between the design and the contractor when you're out there in the actual field. So they have to come to those certain agreements that might change the design just a little bit.
Well, it certainly sounded like this is probably going to be better under the constant flood conditions.
Absolutely.
Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
No, I'm glad that you're taking the steps to ensure that that bridge stays stable and is there for a long time. It's a gorgeous structure.
Love the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe just for the public's edification, Ms. Ridge, if you could talk about the difference between a type 1 and a type 4?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I just was sitting here, and when I was reading that, I was like, I will get that answer for you, I promise.
It wasn't me this time.
I know. I thought you didn't ask me the length of the bridge, and when I was reading that between a type 1 and type 4, I was like, one of them are going to ask me the difference between a type 1 and a type 4. And a lot of times I don't have those answers. I depend on my engineer for those types of answers when we're building the bridge. But I forget that when I'm doing the change order, I need to have those answers also.
That's okay. No worries. It's fine. We'll cover that again in a future, I'm sure. But just the difference will assist with the changes in the creek and the
differences will increase the safety to the flooding for the bridge. Absolutely.
Right. Excellent. All right. Let's see if there's any public comments on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on NDOT change order number 2 for the Cedar Ford covered bridge?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. We don't have any appointments today. We do have a few announcements. Just a reminder that if you are considering applying for a board or commission appointment, please do so as soon as possible. Go to co.monroe.in.us and you can search and find the application. And if you are curious about our boards and commissions, you can find the list and you can look at minutes from past meetings, information about each board and each commission as well through the same search feature. We are providing CARES funding directly to local businesses and not-for-profits, social service organizations specifically, and also to some of the taxing units that did not receive direct CARES funding yet. And as of last Thursday, the total approved for businesses and social service organizations is over $89,500. And also the library as a taxing unit has been approved for $26,101. So any business that has a non-payroll CARES related expense that has not already been covered by a loan or, for example, a county grant, please consider applying. Just go to co.monroe.in.us and apply. The application and information is available right from the homepage. Also note that for any resident who is struggling to pay for utilities, rent, or anything like that, the basic necessities of life, please know that every county resident has a township trustee, and that your township trustees have been provided with additional funding to help you through this COVID-related crisis. So please contact your township trustee as soon as possible if you need assistance with things like rent and utilities. Just a reminder again to check. This week was there was voter registration day. I think it was yesterday. It was National Voter Registration Day. But so please check your registration, and you can do so at indianavoters.com. You can also find other information there about your precinct and the ballot and things like that. You can also visit monroecountyvoters.us for county information, including hours and applying to become a poll worker. Just a reminder that your voter registration is due October 5th, and early voting in person, early voting begins October 6th. And you do have the option to request an early vote by mail, but you have to meet the requirements on that form. If you have questions about that, go to monroecountyvoters.us or indianavoters.com. So I want to see if my colleagues have any additional items or information that they wish to pass along.
Not right now.
Just want to remind everybody to participate in the census if they haven't already. They can do that at 2020census.gov. It means a lot in terms of the financing that we have available for our roads, for our libraries, for our schools, for our healthcare. And it's especially important for our IU students to help us out this way. They may not be here, 10 years from now, but the next set of IU students will be. And so you're leaving a legacy if you help us this way.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And with that, we are adjourned. We'll stay here to see if there are any questions from the media. But our meeting is now adjourned.